Welcome Wildcats. Today we're going to be talking about 1.3 and it has to do with translations and dilations. But today we're only going to talk about the first half of that. So today we are going to look at vertical and horizontal translations. You guys have seen these before, but you didn't call them translations, you called them shifts. So this next slide is going to be very confusing. We're only going to talk about the first half of it today, but this slide shows all the different ways that we can mess with the function. We can have a negative sign on the outside of parentheses, we can have a multiplication on the outside, a negative sign on the inside, multiplication on the inside, addition and subtraction on the inside, addition and subtraction on the outside. It's really a lot. But if you guys take down this slide, I'm not going to give you enough time to do it now, so you will want to pause once the slide is all up. All of these colors mean something. Red reflects or flips the graph over the x-axis. Orange, if A is bigger than 1, is a vertical stretch. If it's smaller than 1, it's a compression vertically. Green flips the graph over the y-axis. Light blue, if B is greater than 1, is a horizontal compression. If it's smaller than 1, it's a horizontal stretch. Dark blue, if you add dark blue, it slides something to the left. If you subtract dark blue, it slides it to the right. We're going to talk about those in a second. Those are backwards from what they seem like they should be. Purple, adding something to the outside slides it up or translates it up, and subtracting slides or translates it down. Now today, everything in that black section, we're going to skip. We're going to talk just about translations, vertical and horizontal, sliding something left and right, sliding something up and down. That's all we're worried about today. So let's take a look at what this looks like. We're going to talk about how we can make translations work for you. They are not hard once you get the hang of them, even though they look super complicated. So let's take a look at this function. F of x equals the absolute value of x minus 3 plus 1. Now we just spent an entire week going over parent functions. So for this one, what is our first parent, or what is the parent function of this equation? Exactly. It's the absolute value parent function, and we write that as f of x equals absolute value of x. And that graph looks like this. Notice that I did do this as a dotted line instead of a solid line. Not a big deal. Doesn't matter at all. So there is a very specific order to how we do translations. We're going to do horizontal first, and then we'll do vertical. So our first step is to apply any horizontal shift that this graph has. We see on the inside that we have x minus 3. So that means we are going to shift 3 units either left or right. But which is it? Exactly. Like I said on the previous slide, it's backwards from what it looks. Normally when we see minus and we're talking about horizontal, that means left. But because it's backwards, it's going to be right. So we're going to shift right 3 units. Next, we're going to look at the graph after we shift it 3 units to the right. I know you can't see all the lines here, but you can see that this graph has been shifted right and is now the orange graph. Finally, we're going to do the vertical shift. So on the outside of the equation, we have plus 1. So what is that going to do to our graph? We said it on the previous slide. Perfect. It's going to shift our graph up 1 unit. And what's that graph going to look like? It looks like this red graph. Guys, that's really all there is to horizontal and vertical translations. There's going to be plenty of practice on how to do this in your homework assignments. Keep in mind that they will not all be absolute value, but There is another section still within 1.3, so it's not, your homework assignment's not going to be just horizontal and vertical shifting and translations. So you may not be able to do all of the homework assignments until after tomorrow's notes. Good luck, Wildcats.